In this video, we will discuss about team management, team formation, overview and objectives. By the end of this module, you will be able to describe team management, define team formation, explain team facilitation, list team dynamics, define time management for teams, examine team decision-making tools, explore management and planning tools, evaluate team performance, evaluation and reward. Team formation, session overview and objectives. By the end of this session, you will be able to explore team types and constraints, list team roles, explain team member selection, describe launch teams. Team types and constraints. Team management, team formation and types continued. Team formation. As a prerequisite to team formation, team members must have a reason to work together, accept an interdependent relationship, commit to team values. Management supports the team process by ensuring a constancy of purpose, reinforcing positive results, sharing business results, giving people a sense of mission, developing a realistic and integrated plan, providing direction and support. Management as part of some mechanism, such as a steering committee, reviewed later in this session, should provide relief from potential team constraints such as work schedules or lack of technology. The Six Sigma Black Belt, champion or team leader may also be involved in easing other team constraints. Types of teams. The following types of teams are used by industries throughout the world today. Six Sigma teams. Six Sigma teams closely follow the description of project and ad hoc teams that follow, with the addition of Black and Master Black Belt support. It should be noted that not all companies, lauded to have effective Six Sigma programs, follow the same structure. Many companies use a variety of team arrangements and provide support as necessary. Improvement teams. A group belonging to any department chooses to solve a quality productivity problem. It will continue until a reasonable solution is found and implemented. The problem may be management selected, but the solution is team directed. Process improvement team. For a process improvement team, employees may be drawn from more than one department to look into the flow of material and semi-finished goods required to streamline the process. Project teams, task forces, ad hoc teams. Members are selected based on their experience and directed by management to look into specific areas such as the modernization of a piece of equipment or solution to a customer complaint. These teams are generally ad hoc and disband upon the completion of their assignments. Team membership can be all management, all work area, or a composite of the two. Usually, the boundaries of the assignment are tightly drawn for project teams or ad hoc teams. Some task forces may have broader mandates. Cellular teams. Cellular teams are a variant of natural work teams. The name derives from the work cell arrangement in which a number of employees either fabricate or assemble parts. These teams can be led by a supervisor or may be self-directed. Self-directed teams. After a team understands its charter and has worked through its norms, it is ready to get down to the business of solution building and improvement. Ideally, the team should select its own leader to interface with other teams and coordinate team activities. As the team meets and works together, the team leader should assume an equal position with the other team members. Some teams find it helpful to rotate team leadership to give everyone experience. At the pinnacle of performance, anyone on the team should be able to lead the team. This type of team operates with minimal day-to-day direction from management. Self-directed teams are asked to accomplish objectives within timeframes that are truly stretch objectives. Management must give the team the maximum latitude possible for achieving their objectives. Cross-functional teams. Cross-functional teams are made up of individuals who represent different departments or functional areas in the organisation. Individuals who represent a department or functional area should be subject matter experts. That is, they should be very knowledgeable about the policies, practices and operations of their department or functional area. The thoughtful selection of the members is an important aspect of building an effective team. This becomes even more critical if the team is to work only on a single project for several months or more. Team involvement promotes sharing of the problem and minimises finger-pointing. Representation from various departments also promotes the acceptance and implementation of change throughout the organisation. Solutions designed with the active participation of affected departments tend to be technically superior and accepted more readily by those who must implement them. Natural work team organisation. Leadership is usually given to the area supervisor. Members come from the supervisor's workforce. Outside members from specialist organisations can be included in the membership, either as active members or as contributing guests. Often, a facilitator is another important person in this team organisational structure. He or she is specifically trained to coordinate multiple team activities, oversee team progress, document results, and train team members in their assorted duties. Quality circles. The concept of circles originated in Japan after World War II. They were so successful in Japan that many managers in the United States tried to duplicate them. The circle is a means of allowing and encouraging people on the production floor to participate in discussions that will improve quality and/or reduce manufacturing costs. Quality is only a part of circle involvement. Most ideas worthy of implementation must be justified on the basis of cost savings in some way. Department members voluntarily participate to improve departmental performance. Quality circles are effective forums to exchange suggestions and find solutions. Since membership is voluntary, people are highly motivated to continue the improvement process. Quality teams. The quality circle approach has been on the decline in the US for some time. Replacing circles, there have been a variety of quality team nomenclatures. The major reasons for the shift appear to be twofold. First, the term quality circle has a strong Japanese connotation. And secondly, most circle projects tend to be employee selected, whilst most team efforts are management selected, but team directed. The fundamental purpose of establishing quality teams is to improve the internal efficiencies of the company and both internal and external products and service quality. This is done through the efforts of the team members to improve quality, methods, and/or productivity. Virtual teams. The world is becoming increasingly flat due to the advent of a variety of synchronous chat rooms, teleconferencing and video conferencing, and asynchronous websites, email, faxes, voicemail tools. Since many companies are international, there is a growing need for a variety of project or ad hoc teams to address issues such as product quality, service instructions, delivery issues, and technical requirements. Synopsis of team applications. Improvement teams. The structure may be 8 to 10 members from a single department, and best applications include can work on quality or productivity issues. A process improvement team can consist of multi-department membership and focus on process flow and product issues. Quality teams. The structure may be 8 to 10 members from a single department, and best applications include may initially work on quality topics or overall department performance. Can evolve into self-directed teams. Project teams. The structure can have broad or specific member selection. May be all or part management. They work on specific projects such as the installation of a conveyor system. Can also focus on material-related items like an improved inventory control system. Usually disbands upon the completion of a project. Six Sigma teams. The structure is generally 8 to 12 members with black belt or master black belt support. They work on specific process or customer-based projects of importance. Usually disbands upon project completion. Cross-functional teams. The structure is 8 to 12 members from different areas, departments or disciplines. The members are carefully selected. Knowledgeable people are required. Very similar to project teams. Tends to deal more with policies, practices and operations. Self-directed teams. The structure is of 6 to 15 members. Generally a natural work area team. May need staff support and they require considerable training and exposure. Can be given objectives or develop their own. Some companies select people with cooperative skills to help with success. In this video, we will discuss about team management. Team roles. Team management. Team roles. Described below are a variety of major team member roles and responsibilities as practiced in both Six Sigma and other team arrangements. The team member role. Each team member is responsible for participating in training to become an effective team member, attending team meetings as required, completing assignments between meetings, participating actively during meetings by contributing information and ideas, encouraging active participation by other team members, benefiting from the experience, expertise and perspective of others, applying the steps of the improvement process. The leader role. Some teams have both leaders and facilitators. This is common for manufacturing line teams. As a general rule, the team leader focuses on the team product, the results, and the facilitator is most concerned with the team process. Teams consisting of staff personnel will often have only one of these roles, generally a facilitator. Within the Six Sigma framework, the team leader is normally trained both as a facilitator and black belt. The leader will provide direction and suggest assignments, act as a communication hub and as a liaison with management, handle administrative details like meeting sites and scheduling, ensure that individual needs and expectations are considered, recommends meeting agendas and conduct meetings, assess group progress to plan, evaluate and initiate action, take the steps necessary to ensure success, possess an ability to encourage participation, be genuinely concerned about people, be encouraging and supportive, be accepting and tolerant of mistakes, work with, not over, participants. Stick to the task at hand. Be a good listener. The leader's role is not to boss the team, but to ensure implementation of the team mission and charter. The team facilitator role. As noted earlier, the team leader in Six Sigma and other team arrangements is often the facilitator. However, many companies find facilitators useful both for team startups and for a variety of other team arrangements. The team leader and/or facilitator must understand group dynamics and how a group moves through developmental stages: forming, storming, norming, and performing. Facilitators are useful in assisting a group in the following ways: identifying members of the group that need training or skill building, avoiding team impasses before the task is completed, providing feedback on group effectiveness, summarising points made by the group, balancing group member activities so each member is able to provide inputs, helping to secure resources that the team requires, providing an outside neutral perspective, clarifying points of view on issues, keeping the team on track with the process, helping with interpersonal difficulties that may arise, focusing on progress, assessing the change process, assessing cultural barriers, attitudes, personalities, assessing how well groups are accomplishing their purpose, asking for feelings on sensitive issues, helping the leader to do his/her job more easily, coaching the leader and participants. If there is no facilitator, the team leader or assigned black belt or a coach must assume many of the above duties. The facilitator must avoid being judgmental of team members or their ideas, comments, opinions, taking sides or becoming caught up in the subject matter, dominating the group discussions, solving a problem or giving an answer, making suggestions on the task instead of on the process. Described below are a variety of major team member roles and responsibilities as practiced in both Six Sigma and other team arrangements. The recorder role. The team recorder, secretary, is normally a full-fledged team member. The recorder maintains the team's minutes and agendas. Often selected by team members, the recorder also coordinates the preparation of letters, reports, and other documents. Often this duty is rotated among team members. He/she also distributes relevant materials to team members. The recorder may or may not participate as a member, takes clear notes including project responsibilities, publishes and distributes the minutes, may ask for clarification of issues for the record. The timekeeper role. The timekeeper's role is an optional responsibility. This function sometimes becomes the responsibility of the facilitator when a facilitator is assigned to a team. The timekeeper advises the team of the remaining time to review a project, enforces any time norms of the team. The process owner role. Key processes should have a process owner. A process owner coordinates process improvement activities and monitors progress on a regular basis. Process owners work with black belts to improve the processes for which they are responsible. Process owners should have basic training in the core statistical tools, but will typically only gain proficiency with those techniques used to improve their individual processes. In some organisations, process owners may be Six Sigma champions or sponsors. This upper-level manager should be comfortable with the team's capabilities, believe in the team's objectives, support team members with resources and information, share information with the team, understand the team's mission, Participate in project reviews. Believe that personal goals are aligned with the team's goals. Be knowledgeable of Six Sigma core elements. Member selection. Team management, member selection. Selecting team members. When selecting a team, upper management identifies those parts of the organisation that are associated most closely with the problem. There are 4 places to look: where the problem is observed or the pain is felt, where sources or causes of the problem might be found, among those with special knowledge, information or skill, in areas that can be helpful in developing the remedy. Often a cross-functional team is assembled to accomplish significant results in a short period of time. The best and brightest people the organisation has to offer should be chosen. What is required are people who believe that 2 or more minds are better than one, and who will contribute a diversity of perspective, experience and knowledge. Obviously, Six Sigma teams are technically supported by green belts, black belts and master black belts. Adding new team members. Care must be taken when adding new people to existing teams. The rule is not to impose an individual on a team. This can be handled by involving the entire team in the selection process. Team members interview prospective new team members either one at a time or collectively. The team should be questioned about the skills they feel a new team member should bring to the team. When the team has a significant role in deciding on any new team member, the team will be much more committed to making sure the decision was the right decision. Removing team members. Sometimes, despite everyone's best efforts, a team member may need to be taken off the team. There are many number of reasons why this situation could occur. Perhaps one of the members lacks the required skills and shows little interest in developing them. Personality conflicts may exist between team members. Perhaps a team member is too stretched or stressed by other projects or personal problems and can't keep his or her commitments to the team. The result is a very delicate situation for the team leader or sponsoring manager. Both the team and the manager should have a series of frank discussions with the individual. The conversations should centre on what's expected, what's at stake, and what's not happening that needs to happen, or what is happening that shouldn't be happening. If the situation doesn't improve, the team member must be removed. In this video, we will discuss about team management, member selection, team size. A team can consist of members from only one area, or it can be made up of a group of representatives from different parts of the organisation. Each person may be a subject matter expert who understands the processes and activities at issue. It is usually impractical to include every person who could be involved. Conventional wisdom is that teams over 20 people, some think over 15, become too unwieldy and lose the active participation of all team members. Teams of 4 people or less may not generate enough ideas. A major change management principle embraces the notion that people will more readily accept and support a change if they are included in the development of the solution. This presents a major dilemma for teams. How can the team be kept small enough to effectively work together and at the same time involve everyone? This is not a trivial matter in large organisations that may have several hundred people actively supporting a work process. Extending the group to customers of the process generates an even larger group of people whose collective buy-in is needed to ensure successful change. Special efforts have to be used to involve the larger group in the understanding of the initial team's charter and the collection of needed information. Input and ideas should be sought from the larger group as the solution set is developed. Successful teams organise, develop and implement a communication plan to gain the participation, support and ultimately the commitment of an entire department or operation. Team diversity. To achieve optimum performance, a team often needs diversity in the orientation of its individual team members. Some team members are needed who are primarily oriented towards task and target date accomplishment. Other team members will be needed who hold process, planning, organisation and methods in the highest regard. Teams also need members who nurture, encourage and communicate well. Teams need some members who are creative and innovative. This quality is helpful when product design, inspiration, optimism or humour is needed. It is important to understand that the above characteristics are not normally an assigned role. People naturally tend to orient their thinking along one or more of the desired traits. A good understanding of the above strengths and the value each brings to a team provides much needed guidance for team selection. Productive teams are sensitive to each other's viewpoints. Belbin team roles. Meredith Belbin describes a pattern of behaviour that characterises relationships in team performance. People often have a mixture of roles and will have dominant and subdominant traits. The Belbin roles can be used to identify types when starting up teams and ensure there is a good membership balance, or that the imbalances are known and can be managed. Action-oriented roles. Shaper. Shapers are highly motivated people with a lot of drive, energy and need for achievement. They often seem to be aggressive extroverts. Implementer. Implementers are well organised and have practical sense. They favour hard work and tackle problems in a systematic fashion. Completer. Completers have a great capacity for follow-through and attention to detail. They seldom start what they cannot finish. People-oriented roles. Coordinator. Coordinators have an ability to cause others to attain shared goals. They spot individual talents and use them to pursue group objectives. Team worker. Team workers are the most supportive members of a team. They are sociable and adaptive to different situations and people. Investigator. Investigators are good communicators both inside and outside the organisation. They are extroverted and enthusiastic. Problem-solving roles. Plant. Plants are innovators and can be highly creative. They provide the seeds and ideas from which major developments spring. Evaluator. Evaluators are serious, prudent individuals. They are slow deciders and possess a critical thinking ability. Specialist. Specialists are self-starting professionals. They pride themselves in acquiring technical skills and specialised knowledge. Individuals are seldom strong in all 9 Belbin team roles. Additionally, many of the contributing role strengths have associated weaknesses. Listed in table below are typical strengths and allowable weaknesses. As per the table, the Shaper's role's strengths are: Shapers bring the drive and courage to overcome obstacles. The Shaper is committed to achieve ends. Their allowable weaknesses are: Shapers offend people and will display aggression in the pursuit of goals. 2 or 3 Shapers in a group can lead to conflict. Implementer. Implementer role's strengths are: Implementers turn ideas into practical actions. They tend to work for the team in a practical and realistic way. Their weaknesses are: Implementers are conservative, inflexible, and slow to respond to new possibilities. Completer finisher. Complete finishers' strengths are: finishers find errors and omissions. They deliver their contributions on time and pay attention to details. Their weaknesses are: finishers worry unduly and are reluctant to delegate. They tend to be over-anxious. Coordinator. The coordinator is a positive thinker who supports goal attainment and effort in others. They clarify goals and delegate well. Coordinators can be seen as manipulative. They might not stand out in a team. Team worker. Team workers' strengths are: team workers tend to keep team spirit up and allow other members to contribute. They bring cooperation and diplomacy to a team. Their weaknesses are: they tend to be indecisive in moments of crisis and are reluctant to offend. Resource investigator. Resource investigators' strengths are: the resource investigator explores opportunities and develops contacts. They are good negotiators. Their weaknesses are: they are over-optimistic and may lose interest quickly. They are not the sources of original ideas. Plant innovator. Plant innovators' strengths are: a plant brings creativity, ideas and imagination to a team. They can solve difficult problems. Their weaknesses are: plants ignore incidentals and may be too preoccupied to communicate effectively. Monitor evaluator. Monitor evaluators' strengths are: the monitor evaluator is not deflected by emotional arguments. They are serious-minded and bring objectivity and judgment to options. Their weaknesses are: the elevator may appear dry, boring, or overcritical. They are not good at inspiring others. Specialist. Specialists bring dedication and initiative. They provide needed knowledge and technical skills. Their weaknesses include: they may contribute only on a narrow front and dwell on technicalities. In this video, let us learn about team facilitation. Team facilitation. Session overview and objectives. By the end of this session, you will be able to define team motivation, list out team stages, describe team communication. Team motivation. Team management, team motivation. The team process itself can be a highly effective, people-building, potential-releasing, goal-achieving social system that is characterized by a climate of high support, creative problem-solving, an open communication process, individual achievement, organizational goal achievement, commitment. The fundamental purpose of establishing teams is to improve the internal and external efficiencies of the company. This is done through the efforts of the team members to improve quality, methods, and/or productivity. If teams are properly functioning, they will improve employee morale, remove areas of conflict, develop creative skills of members, improve communication and leadership skills of members, develop problem-solving techniques, improve attitudes of both management and team members, indicate to team members that management will listen, demonstrate that employees have good ideas, improve management-employee relationships. Listed below are some of the reasons that teams have been successful in many companies. If management has sanctioned teams in the company, they are more apt to listen to employees and believe they have ideas worthy of implementation. The team procedure allows all team members to communicate and exercise creative expression. The concept of teams is supported by modern motivational theory. Maslow's higher level of human needs. McGregor's theory Y, which recognises the worth of an individual. Hertzberg's theory that true motivation is found in the work itself. Motivation techniques. Probably the most challenging management responsibility is how to both sustain and increase internal motivation in the work group. Management should recognise that people do have certain needs in common, which may often be met in basically the same way. For example, two such common needs are that of being needed and of being treated with dignity and respect. Effective managers must have confidence in both their subordinates and themselves. Workers tend to respond to and respect the manager who knows their capabilities, who is fair and consistent, and who respects them as individuals. There are many qualities that a leader must possess and many conditions that must be satisfied to best motivate people in industry. Among the important factors are the ability to communicate, provide leadership, expertise, and appropriate working conditions. In order to more effectively understand motivation, a review of some of the more notable milestones in motivational history is warranted. The Hawthorne Studies. In 1924, Western Electric Company started research on individual productivity at its Chicago Hawthorne facility. They allowed Elton Mayo of Harvard to conduct studies on the effects of worker fatigue and output. The results of this research left countless unanswered questions and opened up many new areas for industrial research. Two important points were revealed in this study. Group behaviour has a powerful influence upon individual members. The work group is a social group which fulfills certain human needs. One of the primary objectives of the study was to determine the effect of illumination on productivity. The study actually revealed a far more important and insightful factor. As long as people are treated as human beings, giving due consideration to individual needs, they tend to cooperate in increasing productivity. The Hawthorne effect suggested that people who are singled out for special attention tend to perform as anticipated. Abraham Maslow. A major theory on the needs and motivation of an individual is based on Abraham Maslow's theory of human needs, based on research conducted during World War II. He stated that there are 5 levels of human needs, and they are listed below from the highest to the lowest. Self-actualization, maximum achievement for self-fulfillment. Esteem, respect, prestige, recognition, personal mastery. Social, love, affection, relationships. Safety, security, protection, and stability. Physiological, basic human needs, food, water, housing. Maslow's theory affirmed the view that individuals are motivated to lower-order needs until these are satisfied, and then higher-order needs must be met. Today's society, with a safety net for the lowest need level, makes the threat of losing a job less severe than in the Depression years. The current generation of professional knowledge workers might already have self-actualization needs. His message for modern management is that more emphasis should be placed on higher order needs for most employees. The diagram indicates that in general, physiological needs are fulfilled by food and shelter. Security needs are fulfilled by stability. Social needs are fulfilled by friendship. Esteem needs and self-actualization needs are fulfilled by status and achievement, respectively. Similarly, the organizational examples for physiological needs are base salary. Security needs are pension plan. Social needs are friends in work group. Esteem needs are job title and self-actualization needs are challenging jobs. Douglas McGregor. During the mid-1950s, Douglas McGregor began to introduce new theories, Theory X and Theory Y, to his students at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. McGregor contended that traditional management practices were rooted in certain basic negative assumptions about people, Theory X, are fundamentally lazy, cannot direct their own behaviour, avoid responsibility, are indifferent to organisational needs, lack integrity, prefer to be directed by others, are not very bright, are not interested in achievement. By contrast, Theory Y contains the following important points. The expenditure of physical effort in work is as natural as play or rest. The threat of punishment is not the only means to achieve objectives. Man can exercise self-direction and self-control. Commitment to objectives is a function of the associated rewards. The average human can learn to accept and seek responsibility. Imagination, ingenuity, and creativity are widely, not narrowly, distributed. Only a fraction of the intellectual potential of workers is utilised. McGregor viewed management's job as one in which working conditions are created so that individuals can establish and integrate goals with those in the organisation. McGregor stated that the following statements are true for Theory X organisations. Operators don't care about the operation and products, including quality. Hostile relationships within and between departments are common. Emphasis on whom to blame if something goes wrong. An independent inspection group must be used to catch defects. Operators are not consulted for work-related improvements. A critical, fault-finding upper management. A corresponding list of statements are true of Theory Y organisations. Upper management empowers workers to improve the process. A supportive professional and friendly relationships abound. Employees share incentives, and individual leadership is encouraged. Emphasis is on what the problem is and how to fix it. Operators contribute to work-related improvements on a continuous basis. Operators care and are interested in their product and jobs. In this video, let us learn about team facilitation, team management, team motivation. Frederick W. Hertzberg. Frederick W. Hertzberg and his colleagues at Western Reserve Institute conducted studies on the motivation to work. He proposed that motivation can be divided into two factors, which have been referred to by a variety of names, such as dissatisfiers and satisfiers, or maintenance factors and motivators, or hygiene factors and motivators. The dissatisfiers or hygiene factors do not provide strong motivation, but do cause dissatisfaction if they are not present. On the other hand, satisfiers do provide strong motivation and satisfaction when they are present. For the manager, this is a reminder that salary is not a motivator, but lack of an appropriate salary can dissatisfy an employee. As shown in the diagram, the traditional model states that the employees are either satisfied or dissatisfied, whereas Hertzberg's mode indicates that motivational factors and maintenance factors are critical for employees to be satisfied or dissatisfied. Management should be aware of the need to balance both sides of the equation in order to keep an employee from being dissatisfied and still have motivators available to influence the employee in a positive way. Hygiene factors include supervision, working conditions, interpersonal relationships, pay and security, company policies. Motivation factors include achievement, recognition, the work itself, responsibility, advancement. Job enrichment. Hertzberg's theory of satisfiers and hygiene factors for understanding job satisfaction and performance are linked to job enrichment. In this job design, jobs that are boring or lack content are given elements that will satisfy and enrich the employee. Hackman, 1980, suggests that the following job characteristics are important. Skill variety, a variety of tasks and types of skills. Task identity, an ability to do the complete job. Task significance, the impact of the job on the firm. Autonomy, freedom from supervision, ability to schedule one's own work. Job feedback, a person can see the direct results of their work. Employee empowerment. Organisations have been searching for higher performance for many years. French, 1999, reports that research from the 1940s, 50s and 60s showed that most people desired increased involvement and participation. Organisations find that with empowerment, solutions are better, decisions have better acceptance, and performance is increased. French, 1999, provides the following definition of empowerment. To empower is to give someone power, which is done by giving individuals the authority to make decisions, to contribute their ideas, to exert influence, and to be responsible. Management can do a better job in erasing barriers to empowerment through providing more support, managing by walking around, providing training, responding quickly to recommendations, being facilitators, recognising employee accomplishments, being role models. Organisational empowerment. Management has the responsibility of setting the tone for organisational empowerment. The purpose of this action is to engage the entire workforce in the activity of making things better. The need for continuous improvement includes productivity, cost containment, product and service quality, outstanding customer treatment, and respect for all employees of the company. Organisational empowerment generally consists of steps or stages. Very few companies would attempt to advance from employee awareness directly to employee ownership. Without adequate consideration of the quality of work life, by enriching it, enlarging it, or other methods, the individual worker will probably not be satisfied. Efforts at higher levels of empowerment may be doomed. Among the various concepts that management can use are getting others involved in their own work assignments, encouraging others to obtain the results of work assignments, providing an environment of cooperation and information sharing, sharing the ownership of results, encouraging others to take initiative in the workplace, allowing others to make decisions and solve their own problems, letting others implement their ideas, recognising successes and contributors. Kinney, 1993, suggests that management cannot directly cause an employee to become motivated. The best that they can do is follow the concepts listed below to create an environment for individuals to motivate themselves. Know thyself. Managers must understand their own motivations, strengths, and weaknesses. Know your employees. A motivating manager knows their most valuable resource is people. They should talk to and listen to them. Establish a positive attitude. Respect and displaying sensitivity towards others is essential to the development of positive attitudes. Feedback should, for the most part, say 85 to 90%, be positive. Asking for and acting on employee opinions also builds an effective cooperative atmosphere. Shares the goals. A motivated workforce needs well-defined goals that address both individual and organisational needs. Monitor progress. Managers should periodically review performance. Develop interesting work. Managers should consider altering an employee's work by means of job rotation, job enlargement, and job enrichment. Job rotation permits employees to switch jobs, reducing boredom and building process knowledge. Job enlargement combines tasks horizontally for growth. Job enrichment combines tasks vertically for growth. Communicate effectively. Managers should provide work-related information to the employees rather than relying on grapevine information. Celebrate success. Recognizing employee. In this video, let us learn about team facilitation. Team stages. Team management. Team stages. Team stages. Most teams go through 4 development stages before they become productive: forming, storming, norming, and performing. These stages can also be cyclical. Individuals may be storming with one teammate and performing with another. Bruce W. Tuckman, 1965, first identified the 4 development stages. Forming. Forming is the beginning of team life. Expectations are unclear. Members test the water. Interactions are superficial. This is the honeymoon stage. When the team forms, its members typically start out by exploring the boundaries of acceptable group behaviour. As each member makes the transition from individual to team member, each looks to the team leader or facilitator for guidance as to his or her role and responsibilities. Storming. The second phase consists of conflict and resistance to the group's task and structure. There are healthy and unhealthy types of storming. Conflict often occurs in the following major areas: authority issues, vision and values dissonance, and personality and cultural differences. However, if dealt with appropriately, these stumbling blocks can be turned into performance enhancers later. This is the most difficult stage for any team to work through. Teams realise how much work lies ahead and feel overwhelmed. They want the project to move forward, but are not yet experts at team improvement skills. They often cling to their own opinions, based on personal experience, and resist seeking the opinions of others. This can lead to hurt feelings and unnecessary disputes. A disciplined use of the quality improvement process and the proper tools and communication skills can assist team members to express their various theories, lower their anxiety levels, and reduce the urge to assign blame. Adjourning. At the end of most Lean Six Sigma projects, the team disbands. This step is called adjourning, to rhyme with the 4 other team stages: forming, storming, norming, and performing. Adjourning is also a very common practice for other project teams, task forces, and ad hoc teams. Team life cycle characteristics. Shown is another representation of team development stages. As you can see, the diagram is divided in build phase, develop phase, and optimize phase. Build phase. Forming/storming. Group will be uncertain. Group lacks cohesiveness. Group will not easily develop consensus. Leader exhibits a high task, high relationship style. Develop phase. Norming. Task-related work is assumed by the group. The group must work to involve any non-participating members. Leader exhibits a low-task, high-relationship style. Team focuses on presentations, tasks, and relationships. Optimize phase, performing. Members prioritize and perform tasks. Members work out decisions in a caring way. Conflict is accepted, but cooperation is preferred. Team leader is a delegator and exhibits a low-task, low-relationship style. Team exhibits a high-task, high-relationship style. Team communications. Team management. Team communication. Team communications. For any organisation to be successful, there must be effective internal and external communications. This concept certainly extends to team-based communications as well. Among other items, management must relay information regarding the vision and mission of the company, team-based policies and procedures, team performance feedback, the extent of project support, satisfaction or dissatisfaction with team performance, any shifts in priorities. Teams are responsible for communicating the project's progress and current status, any requests for any change in resources, items that may impact other teams or departments, any significant shifts in project direction, any pertinent stakeholder information, any requests for assistance, both internal or external. Based on the type of team organisation, oral communication can take a variety of forms, such as the telephone, face-to-face meetings, formal briefings, videotapes, and the Internet. Examples of written communications include letters, reports, computer messages, and emails. The written forms can be described as one-way channels. That is, with one-way channels, feedback to a report or a posting is not immediate. Face-to-face meetings generally allow for immediate feedback from the receiver to the sender, two-way communications. The skillful use of questioning is of great value to both management and Six Sigma teams. Schultz, 1996, suggests that the following key questions should be asked. Why? Use the Japanese technique of asking why 5 times. What is the purpose? What will it take to accomplish the project? Who will care or benefit if the project is completed? What data is available? Where did the data come from? Some additional ideas for the art of asking questions. Avoid leading questions. Let the group or individual draw their own conclusion. Phrase questions in a positive manner. Prepare questions in advance whenever possible. The use of open-ended questions will allow for some discussion and probing rather than just a simple yes or no answer. Listening, the other half of the communication concept, often receives far too little attention. Verbal information can often be very difficult to understand, even when active listening takes place. Management, including team leadership, should spend a substantial amount of time being listeners. Active listening is defined as helping find the source of problems or meaning. A passive listener will respond in a manner that will discourage the message sender from saying more. Tips for good listening include: put the message sender at ease. Show that you want to listen. Remove listening distractions. Empathise with the speaker. Be patient with your own response. Hold your own temper. Avoid arguing and criticism. Ask questions. Stop talking. Many individuals would rather hear themselves speak than listen to another person. The good news is listening skills can be learned and developed by practice. Project reports are a great way to communicate team project status. It should be noted that management reports are addressed later in this primer section. However, a growing number of hospitals, hardware manufacturers, and service organisations are using condensed reporting formats, such as the A3 report format that follows. Note how effective charts and graphs are in the communication process. A3 report. The A3 report is a concise summary of a project described in 5 or 6 parts on one piece of paper. The name A3 relates to the metric size paper used for the report, approximately equivalent to an 11 by 17-inch sheet of paper. This can be the final report presented to management for approval of a project. The process removes the fluff and flashy showmanship from the presentation. It may only take 3 to 5 minutes for the speaker to present the business case. A project is thus judged on its merits. 30 minutes of PowerPoint slides can put an audience to sleep. The A3 report is a lean Six Sigma production, at its finest, in report presentations. Toyota makes extensive use of the A3 style. Variations of the one-page project report are also used at Komatsu and Cummins Incorporated. There are 4 basic types of storylines used in the A3 report. Each type is similar in structure, but the purposes are different. Extensive information is provided in graphic form. The basic types are proposal stories, a business case for a new venture; problem-solving stories, an analysis and implementation report; status stories, a project status report; information stories, a transmittal of information. The report format fits the problem-solving stages onto an 11-inch by 17-inch sheet. For example, the problem definition and analysis stages would appear on the left side of the paper, while the action plans, results of activities, and future steps will appear on the right side. The following are some key concepts for A3 report writing. Use concise wording. Use charts to illustrate points. Restrict statements to 3 or 4 bullets per section. Provide substance, not fluff. A hypothetical A3 report is presented on the following pages, but there is certainly flexibility in the format. The concept is to present a summary of the project in a concise, clear, and understandable way. Please note that the following A3 example is presented on 2 8.5-inch by 11-inch sheets of paper. Each sheet represents approximately 1/2 of an A3 report. Summary. Team facilitation. In this session, you have learnt about team motivation, team stages, team communication,
team leadership models and approaches. In this video, you are going to learn about different team leadership models, team leadership approaches, selecting appropriate leadership approaches. For example, direct, coach, support, delegate to ensure team success. Team leadership models. The purpose of the model in this video is to provide a roadmap for team leaders to constantly assess their team's effectiveness and when, where, and how team leaders need to intervene. If intervention is a must, is it internal task-related, internal relational, or external? Keeping an eye on all attributes of a team is essential for continuous improvement of the team. Many leadership theories are available, and all of them can be summarized in the 4 categories stated below. 1. Based on individual personality, known as trait theory. 2. Based on individual behavior or action, known as behavioral theory. 3. Based on working environment, known as contingency theory. 4. Power and influence theory. Understanding of various models and tools under these categories can help the team leader at different levels and situations. Leadership model depends on 3 factors. Dr. Paul Hersey, a professional and author of The Situational Leader, and Ken Blanchard, author of the best-selling 1-Minute Manager, created the Hersey-Blanchard Situational Leadership Theory. Leaders should be flexible in their leadership styles based on the maturity of the people they're leading and the details of the task. A model depends on 3 factors. 1. Task behavior, details, and guidance required. 2. Relationship behavior, communication, and support required. 3. Employee maturity or readiness, ability, and willingness. Trait theory. Trait theory deals with personality characteristics or traits of a good leader. It helps identify characteristics or qualities of a good leader. Here, we see traits and skills for leaders as identified by Stogdill in 1974. Traits: cooperative, decisive, adaptable to situations, energetic, consistent, socially alert, ambitious, and goal-oriented, assertive, dependable, having the ability to influence others, confident, stress management, and proactive. Skills: clever, intelligent, good speaker, conceptually skilled, creative and imaginative, diplomatic and tactful, knowledgeable about the task, capable administrator, persuasive, socially skilled. 4 primary traits which make leaders succeed or derail as researched by McCall and Lombardo in 1983. 1. Emotional resilience, calm, confident, and predictable, particularly when under stress. 2. Ownership, owning up both good and bad. 3. Interpersonal skills, persuasive and a good communicator without any negative tactics. 4. Intellectual, having a wide range of expertise. Behavioral theory. Behavioral theory states that leadership traits can be taught. It's exactly the opposite of trait theory, which says leaders are born, not made. This leadership theory focuses on the actions of leaders or how leaders behave in different situations and not on mental qualities or internal states. According to this theory, people can learn to become leaders through teaching and observation. For example, do leaders dictate what needs to be done and expect cooperation, or do they involve their teams in decision-making to encourage acceptance and support? Kurt Lewin in 1930s classified a leader's behavior as autocratic, democratic, laissez-faire leaders. Contingency theory. According to contingency theory of leadership, no leadership style is best in all situations. This theory focuses on the variables that are related to the environment and states that these variables can determine which particular style of leadership is best suited for the situation. Success does not depend upon leaders, but upon a number of variables like leadership styles, qualities of the followers, and aspects of the situation. Effective leaders can change their behavior according to circumstances. These theories try to predict which style is best under which circumstance. For example, when a leader needs to make quick decisions, which style is the best? When he needs the full support of his team, which style is more effective? Should a leader be more people-oriented or task-oriented? All of the above questions show that leadership style varies with the situation, thus defining contingency leadership theories. Contingency-based models include 1. The Hersey-Blanchard Situational Leadership Theory. This is a popular contingency-based leadership framework which links leadership style with the maturity of individual members of the leader's team. House's Path-Goal Theory. Psychologist Robert House developed the path-goal theory in 1971 and then redefined and updated it in a 1996 article in the Leadership Quarterly. It states that to achieve goals, leaders need to help, support, and motivate. Fiedler's Contingency Model. This model was created in the mid-1960s by Fred Fiedler, a scientist. It says that a leader's effectiveness is based on 2 factors, leadership style and situational favorableness, later called situational control. Power and Influence Theory. This theory of leadership has a different approach, getting things done by use of power and influence. Most popular model of this theory is French and Raven's 5 forms of power. The model highlights 3 types of positional power: legitimate, reward, coercive. The 2 types of personal power: expert, referent, personal appeal and charm. The most effective source of personal power is the power that comes with being a real expert at one's job. Leadership approaches. In this topic, you will learn about leadership approaches: direct, coach, support, delegate. Leadership approaches. Leaders should be flexible in their leadership styles based on the maturity of the people they're leading and the details of the task. This approach is based on the Hersey-Blanchard situational leadership theory as discussed in the earlier chapter. There are 4 main leadership approaches based on task and relationship focus and the level of maturity of the follower. Direct, telling mode. Coach, selling mode. Support, participating mode. Delegate, a delegating mode. Ken Blanchard in 1985 later refined the model and changed the term situational leadership theory to simply situational leadership. In his model, leadership is the act of providing the correct amount of supervision, directing behavior, and support, supportive behavior, which in turn produces the best learning and developmental environment. At team development stages, forming, storming, norming, and performing, the leadership approaches used in sequence are directing, coaching, participating, and delegating. Direct, or telling mode. High task, low relationship. In this case, the followers have low willingness and low ability for the task at hand. Here, the leader must take a highly directive role when the followers cannot do the job and are unwilling or afraid to try. Directing requires those in charge to define the roles and tasks of the followers and supervise them closely. Decisions are made by those in charge. Directing is often used when the issue is serious or comes with drastic consequences if unsuccessful. The leader maintains a directive position to ensure all required actions are completed. For example, a newcomer in the company who is assigned a task needs to be under continuous supervision until he or she reaches a desired skill set level. Coach, or selling mode. High task, high relationship. The followers in this case have high willingness but low ability for the task at hand. Like directing and coaching, leaders clearly define roles and tasks for followers, but seek their input and suggestions as well. Decisions are still made by the leader, although communication style is truly two-way. Followers needing coaching require direction and supervision because they are still relatively inexperienced, but they also need support and praise to build their self-esteem and involvement in decision-making to restore their commitment. They create a positive workplace environment. Followers know exactly what's expected of them and they understand the overall strategy of the company. For example, a trained operator trying to apply the training but doesn't understand the need of following sequential steps. Support, or participating mode. High relationship, low task. This style is used when a follower is not yet comfortable in making decisions but has the ability to do the job correctly, which indicates low willingness but high ability for the task. The supporting leader passes the day-to-day task-related decisions along with the followers. Followers and supporting leader jointly participate in making decisions, sometimes carrying them out together. Supportive leadership works when the follower can do the job but is refusing to do it or showing a lack of commitment. Motivating and building confidence in people when they are disappointed in progress is the key to a supportive leadership. Supportive leadership involves listening, giving praise, and making the followers feel good when they show the necessary commitments for success. For example, a trained operator who is hesitant to take full responsibility. Delegate. A delegating mode. Low relationship, low task. When the followers are comfortable in taking responsibility and have the experience to accomplish the necessary tasks, thus reflecting high willingness and high ability, This leadership approach is most appropriate. The decision-making power is transferred to followers from the leaders, but the leaders remain responsible for their decisions. Leaders should rely on delegating when the follower can do the job and is motivated to do it. The delegating leader is willing to turn over responsibility for decision-making and problem-solving to the followers. In turn, the followers will decide if the leader will be involved in the task completion. Monitoring the progress of the followers against the requirements necessary to complete the task. Followers at this level have less need for support or frequent praise, although, as with anyone, occasional recognition is always encouraged. For example, an experienced operator who is ready to take full responsibility of handling the task. Most people think of leadership as a position and therefore don't see themselves as leaders. Stephen R. Covey.
In this video, let us learn about team dynamics. Team dynamics, session overview and objectives. By the end of this session, you will be able to describe team dynamics. Team management, team dynamics. One aspect of group cohesiveness can work to a team's disadvantage. Members of highly cohesive groups may publicly agree with actual or suggested courses of action, while privately having serious doubts about them. Strong feelings of group loyalty can make it hard for members to criticize and evaluate others' ideas and suggestions. Desiring to hold the group together and avoid disagreements may lead to poor decision-making. Psychologist Irving Janis, 1971, calls this phenomenon groupthink. Janis ties a variety of well-known historical blunders to groupthink, including the lack of preparedness of the U.S. naval forces for the 1941 Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, the Bay of Pigs invasion under President Kennedy, and the many roads that led to the USA's involvement in Vietnam. Irving Janis, 1971, describes groupthink as a mode of thinking that people engage in when they are deeply involved in a cohesive in-group, when the members' strivings for unanimity override their motivation to realistically appraise alternative courses of action. 8 symptoms of groupthink include: 1. Illusion of invulnerability, feeling that the group is above criticism. 2. Belief in inherent morality of group, feeling that the group is inherently right and above any reproach by outsiders. 3. Collective rationalization, refusing to accept contradictory data or to consider alternatives thoroughly. 4. Outgroup stereotypes, refusing to look realistically at other groups. 5. Self-censorship, refusing to communicate personal concerns to the group as a whole. 6. Illusion of unanimity, accepting consensus prematurely without testing its completeness. 7. Direct pressure on dissenters, refusing to tolerate a member who suggests the group may be wrong. 8. Self-appointed mind guards, protecting the group from hearing disturbing ideas or viewpoints from outsiders. Risky shift. Many people think that the proposed solutions to team projects would be fairly conservative. That is, any proposed solution is an averaged remedy. However, those experienced with team mechanics and dynamics have found the opposite to be the case. Teams often get swept up with expansive and expensive remedies. There are ways to combat this tendency. One way is to discuss risky shift openly in the initial training. Another approach is to have a team member, after full discussion of the issue, ask the question, if this were our personal money, would we still risk it on the proposed solution? Common team problem areas. The following team problem areas are frequently encountered and must be addressed by team leaders, facilitators, sponsors, and upper management. Waning management support. Symptoms of this problem are: the supporting champion leaves. There is an increasing need for top management stimuli. There is lip service without action by mid-management. There are delays in implementation of projects. There is passive rather than active management support. There is inadequate documentation of meeting results. There is inadequate time or training given to team members. Teams expose problems that may be viewed as threats by mid-management. Controversies can develop between facilitators and leaders. People with good facilitation skills may be difficult to find. If there is an existing suggestion program, how should it function with teams? If there is a labour union, there may be resistance to team involvement. Teams may tackle problems outside the realm of their responsibility. Crisis management always creates team scheduling problems. A company's measurement and reward system may be inconsistent. Unproductive competition and conflict may occur among team members. Idea generation and evaluation are not kept separate. Facts and opinions are not distinguished. There is a failure to assign team members specific responsibilities. Floundering. The examples of floundering include: team direction is unclear. Members seem overwhelmed and decisions are postponed. We can fix it by leader providing clarity, reviewing the team purpose and asking, how can we proceed? Dominant. The examples of dominant include: members interrupt others and members dominate the conversation. We can fix it by promoting equal participation and structuring the discussion. Overbearing participants. The examples of overbearing participants include: a member has excessive influence, a member has legitimate authority, and a member is an expert. We can fix it by reinforcing team concepts, asking the expert to lead the group, having a private discussion with expert. Negative Nellies. The examples of negative Nellies include: members say, we tried that already. Members defend their turf. Members are negative of suggestions. We can fix it by reinforcing the positive, asking for other points of view, and separating idea generation from criticism. In this video, let us learn about team dynamics. Opinions as facts. The examples of opinions as facts include: members present opinions as facts. Members make unfounded assumptions. Self-assurance seems unquestionable. It can be fixed by asking for support data, questioning opinions and assumptions, group thinking. Shy members. The examples of shy members include: members are reluctant to speak. Members afraid of making mistakes. We can fix it by structuring group participation and directing conversation their way. Jump to solutions. The examples of jump to solutions include: members rush to accomplish something. Members avoid data collection and analysis, and members want immediate decisions. We can fix it by reinforcing the need for data analysis, asking for alternate solutions, and slowing the process down. Attributions. The examples of attributions include: members make casual inferences. Members don't seek real explanations, and members make psychological judgments. We can fix it by challenging assumptions, challenging judgments, asking for data to support conclusions. Put-downs, discounts and plops. The examples of put-downs include: a member's comments are ignored, members are not listening, the meaning of a suggestion is missed, sarcasm is noted, and we can fix it by encourage active listening, encouraging equal participation, talking to parties privately and promoting uniform idea consideration. Wanderlust, tangents and digressions. The examples of wanderlust include: conversations stray from the main topic, sensitive issues are avoided, and group pursues tangents. We can fix it by following a written agenda, reinforcing team operating guidelines, redirecting the discussion. Feuding. The examples of feuding include: win-lose hostilities emerge, the team takes entrenched sides, and some members become spectators. We can fix it by confronting the adversaries alone, reinforcing team operating guidelines, and replacing the guilty parties if necessary. Risky shift. The examples of risky shifts include: expansive and expensive remedies are suggested, using company money, and we can fix it by asking, if this were my personal money, would I still spend it? Conflict resolution. The following guidelines can be used by project leaders to resolve conflict. Determine how important the issue is to all involved. Determine if the issue can be discussed by all involved. Select a private meeting place. Make sure that all parties understand their responsibilities. The parties must deal with both the problem and solution. Let all parties make opening comments. Let parties express their concerns, feelings, ideas, etc. Guide all parties toward a clear problem definition. Encourage participants to propose solutions. Examine the problem from a variety of perspectives. Discuss any and all proposed solutions. Evaluate the costs versus the gains for all proposed solutions. Choose the best solution. Asking participants how the process might be improved. Conflict is the result of mutually exclusive objectives or views, manifested by emotional responses such as anger, fear, frustration, and elation. Some conflicts are inevitable in human relationships. When one's actions may be controlled by the actions of another, there is an opportunity for conflict. Common causes of conflict include organizational structure, status threats, value differences, personality clashes, role pressures, differences in ideals, perceptual differences, changes in procedures, divergent goals, discrepancies in priorities. Conflicts may be categorized as to the relationship between the parties involved in the conflict. The relative power or influence between parties is a factor both in the cause and the resolution of the conflict. The results of conflicts may be positive in some instances, negative in some, and irrelevant in others. Irrelevant conflicts occur when the outcome has neither positive nor negative effects for either party. Negative conflicts result in hostility, undesirable consequences, win-lose situations, isolation, lose-lose situations, loss of productivity. Positive conflicts result in a combined desire to unite and improve, win-win situations, creative ideas brought forth, better understanding of tasks, problems, better understanding of others' views, wider selection of alternatives, increased employee interest and participation, increased motivation and energy. Each individual uses a number of ways to deal with conflicts depending upon the circumstances and the relationships between the people involved. Whether a conflict resolution method is appropriate or effective will depend on the situation. The ways of dealing with conflicts can be depicted in a two-dimensional model for conflict handling behaviour. Accommodating is unassertive but cooperative. The individual yields to the wishes of others. You win, I lose. Competing is assertive and uncooperative. The individual tries to win, even at the expense of others. You lose, I win. Collaborating is assertive but cooperative. The individual wants things done their way, but is willing to explore solutions which satisfy the other person's needs as well. You win, I win. Compromising is intermediate in both assertiveness and cooperativeness. The individual is willing to partially give in to reach a middle position, splitting the differences, and partially satisfying both parties, neither win nor lose. There is no specific right or wrong method for handling conflicts. The following are general applications for the various conflict handling methods. Avoiding is appropriate for less important issues or when the potential damage from conflict outweighs the benefits of the goal. Accommodating is suitable when one party is wrong or the issue is more important to the others than it is to yourself. Competing is applicable when quick decisions are needed and a stronger influence is held by one side. Collaborating is used when both views are important and an integrated solution is desired. Compromising is used when two opponents have equal power and the goals are not worth the effort or disruption of mutually exclusive solutions. Negotiation techniques. Negotiating is the act of exchanging ideas or changing relationships to meet a need. As common and as important as negotiating is in everyday life, most people learn to negotiate through trial and error. Negotiating should not be a process of using overwhelming and irresistible force on the other party. Some degree of cooperation must be employed in the negotiating process. In dealing with people in a business context, the best approach is to think win-win. The concept of win-win negotiating is for both sides to emerge with a successful deal. Team Dynamics Summary. In this session, you have learnt about team dynamics.
Training Needs Assessment. In this video, you are going to learn about Training Needs Assessment. Identifying the steps involved in implementing an effective training curriculum. Identifying skill gaps, developing learning objectives, preparing a training plan, and developing training materials. Needs Assessment. The terms education and training are often used interchangeably, but are in fact two separate concepts. Training and education are used as tools in the management of quality. An organization that moves in the direction of a goal believes that education and training are investments and not expenses. Training. Training is the process of acquiring some skill or skill set. Training, unlike education, requires coaching, mentoring, performance consulting, and learn-by-doing activities. For example, team leadership and facilitations. Training has an intended purpose to train a specific skill or tactic that should result in specific behaviors to be used on the job, is often part of a longer program designed to help the employee perform better in a specific job, task, or skill, has a more defined, tangible learning goal that is typically tied to performance goals. Education. Education is acquiring knowledge and information, usually in formal manner or the wealth of knowledge acquired by an individual after studying particular subject matters or experiencing life lessons that provide an understanding of something. Education requires instruction of some sort from an individual or composed literature. The most common forms of education result from years of schooling that incorporate studies of a variety of subjects. For example, team dynamics, principles of statistics, university science graduation, etc. Education can have a general desired outcome, but relies on participants to determine whether the information can be used in their own jobs or careers. Is designed to include participants with a variety of job titles, skill levels, and years of experience. Is designed to inform without ties to a specific job. Is better suited to address strategic or theoretical approaches. Can allow for greater contributions from participants because they are not tied to teaching a specific set of tasks or process points. Summarizing the differences between training and education. Training, practical, job-oriented, skill-enhancing. Education, theoretical, learning-oriented, knowledge-enhancing. Training needs analysis and training needs assessment is used interchangeably, and many texts describe both as one and the same with different names. However, to differentiate between the two, each can be defined as follows. Training needs analysis. It is the method of determining if a training need exists and if it does, what training is required to fill the gap. This is achieved by collecting both qualitative and quantitative data for analysis. Training needs assessment. Training needs assessment is scrutiny of the training, learning, and development needs of the employees once they are identified. It is a kind of revalidation of needs identified already in training need analysis. Training needs analysis is the first critical stage in the training cycle. The cycle is continuous. The evaluation step includes a reassessment of training needs, leading onto the TNA process starting again. Training needs analysis process steps are as follows. Identifying the objectives of the organization. Appointing a training coordinator. Gathering information about the skills and abilities of the individuals. Analyzing that information. Identifying the gaps and drawing a training plan. Indications of a need for training. When standards of work performance are not met, accidents, excessive scrap, frequent need for equipment repairs, different methods are being used by people to do one job. Deadlines are not met, excessive fatigue, fumbling, discouragement, and struggling on the job. There are different types of training needs. Focusing on performance deficiency alone in needs analysis is too restrictive. Classification of training needs is as follows: democratic, diagnostic, analytical, and compliance. Democratic needs. These are options for training that are preferred, selected, or voted by employees or managers or both. Diagnostic needs. These focus on the factors that lead to effective performance and prevent performance problems rather than emphasizing on existing problems. Analytical needs. These needs are generally discovered by intuition, insight, or expert consideration. Compliance needs. These are those mandated by law. They deal with mandated training programs such as safety training, prevention of sexual harassment, training for implementation of reservation policy, etc. Purpose of needs assessment is to identify performance requirements, knowledge, skills and abilities needed, and presence of gap between performance required and current performance. Furthermore, they are used to fulfill organizational mission, improve productivity, and provide quality products and services. Basic focus should be on improving knowledge, skill, and attitude, KSAs, of employees. What KSAs are required? Do we have required KSAs today? If not, then what? Do those who possess the KSAs perform with competency? Do we need KSAs refreshment and enhancement? Other requirements or whys to conduct a training needs analysis are: to determine what training is relevant to your employee's job. To determine what training will improve performance, for example, performance requirements. To determine if training will make a difference. To distinguish training needs from organizational problems, and to link improved job performance with the organization's goals and bottom line. To comply with new or changed regulatory or customer requirements. To address new or changed systems, processes, procedures, methods, etc. A training needs analysis, TNA, involves collecting data, information relevant to training from the concerned organization or department. The aim here is to have clear evidence on which one bases the findings and conclusions. Techniques and tools for needs assessment, TNA, are reviewing existing documents, individual interview, work diaries, observation and listening, self-assessment, critical incident analysis, questionnaires, and analysis of the job description. 3 components of training need assessment are organizational needs analysis, task analysis, job needs analysis, person needs analysis. Organizational needs analysis. In conducting organizational analysis, the company may consider issues like increased competition for old and new businesses, greater emphasis on efficiency and cost reduction, increased needs on cooperation amongst companies, business strategies of the rival companies, research and innovation, merger, acquisition, diversification, and expansion, automation and modernization, manpower plan on hiring, retrenching, and deployment of stall. Task analysis, job needs analysis. The process of collecting information regarding a job for use in developing training programs is often referred to as task analysis or job needs analysis. Task analysis explains what must be done to perform a job or complete a process successfully. Task analysis means detailed examination of a job's role to find out what knowledge, skills, attitudes, motives, values, and self-concepts are needed in people for superior or effective performance. Person needs analysis. A person needs analysis identifies gaps between a person's current capabilities and those identified as necessary or desirable. Person needs analysis can be either broad or narrow in scope. The broader approach compares actual performance with the minimum acceptable standards of performance. The narrower approach compares an evaluation of employee proficiency on each required skill dimension with the proficiency level required for each skill. The steps to implement an effective training curriculum are identifying skills gaps, developing learning objectives, preparing a training plan, and developing training materials. These can be best described by the ADDIE model. The ADDIE model is used to maximize the effectiveness, efficiency, and appeal of training and the learning experience. It is a step-by-step process that helps training specialists plan and create training programs. ADDIE was developed at Florida State University in 1975. ADDIE was selected by the Armed Services, the United States military, to develop training. The ADDIE design model has 5 components. Analysis, design, development, implementation, evaluation. Analysis. This entails finding the difference between what people are currently doing and what the organization needs them to be doing to meet strategic goals. The analysis phase is the most important phase in the ADDIE model. During this phase, we define and develop as clear of an understanding of the audience's needs and constraints, existing knowledge, skills, and the desired outcome of the training as we can. For example, what are the training requirements? What is the performance gap? Who is the audience and what are their characteristics? What are the behavioral outcomes desired? What are the delivery options? What are the timeline and budget constraints? Design. This phase is a systematic process of research, planning, identifying, and specifying the complete design of the course objectives, lesson planning, topic content, training methodology, media, learner exercises, courseware content, and assessment criteria. Typically, Detailed prototypes are developed at this time and the look, feel, design, and content are determined. Typical questions asked and answered, and some of the steps are as under. What are the specific behaviors that need to be learned? Write learning objectives. How will we evaluate whether or not the learner has learned the behavior? Define measurement strategy. What is the best order in which to sequence the instructional activities? Determine instructional strategy. What methods are best to convey content? Instructor-led, group discussion, role-playing, scenarios, e-learning, development. This phase involves the actual production and assembly of materials that were developed in the design phase. What do you need to actually teach the material? PowerPoint, handouts, glossary, resources, job aids, activities, and evaluation. Develop training and on-the-job aids. List activities that will help the students learn the task. Develop coaching, mentoring guides, and resources. Develop participants' assessments. Conduct pilot program to test that the program meets the client's requirements. Create learning activities. Implementation. The implementation phase is where the developed course is actually put into action and the final product, developed based on needs and errors discovered while testing with a prototype product, is presented to the target audience. Prepare technology infrastructure and support services. Prepare trainers, arrange logistics. Invite, enroll, prepare learners. Conduct training sessions. Collect learner feedback. Evaluation. After delivery, the evaluation phase in a systematic process considers feedback from the learners. The feedback gathered during this phase measures reaction, identifies what is working and not working, determines the effectiveness and quality of the delivery, and is designed to fine-tune the program. It validates whether the course satisfied its objectives and the effectiveness of the training materials used. It finds out whether the learning went as planned, and it may also uncover any obstacles that may have emerged, and then, by making revisions, adjustments, and corrections as needed, ensures the success of the next presentation. For example, use a well-designed post-presentation questionnaire, evaluation, and/or survey that provides Donald Kirkpatrick's 4 levels of evaluation. Level 1. Reaction to learning activity. Did the participants believe the training was beneficial? Level 2. Knowledge or skill assessment. Test. Were objectives met and did learners demonstrate that they understood the content? Level 3. On-job application, performance. Will this training actually improve performance? Level 4. Return on investment. Will this training improve our bottom line? Training increases skill and competence and teaches employees the how of a job. Education increases their insights and understandings and teaches the why. Michael Hammer and James Champy. Training delivery. In this video, you are going to learn about adult learning theory, modes of learning, various techniques used to deliver effective training. Adult learning theory. An adult learner is a socially accepted person who is involved in any learning process. Part of being an effective educator involves understanding how adults learn best. Adult learning is a theory that holds a set of assumptions about how adults learn. Andragogy emphasizes the value of the process of learning. It uses approaches to learning that are problem-based and collaborative rather than didactic, and also emphasizes on more equality between the teacher and learner. Malcolm Shepard Knowles used the term andragogy as synonymous to adult education. According to Malcolm Knowles, andragogy is the art and science of adult learning. Thus, andragogy refers to any form of adult learning. Kearsley, 2010. Why adults learn? Adults learn for the following reasons: to keep up with the growing competition, as part of their job training, for financial growth and benefits, for self-improvement, to acquire new skills. There are 6 principles of adult learning. Need to know. Adults need to know the reason for learning. Experience. Adults draw upon their experiences to aid their learning. Self-concept. Adult needs to be responsible for their decisions on education, involvement in planning and evaluation of their instruction. Readiness. The learning readiness of adults is closely related to the assumption of new social roles. Orientation. As a person gains new knowledge, he or she wants to apply it immediately in problem solving. Motivation, later added. As a person matures, he or she receives their motivation to learn from internal factors. Modes of learning. There are 3 modes of learning. Visual. Participants need to be able to actually see, or if not, be able to visualize what is being taught. For example, demonstrate, show example, and paint a word picture to illustrate. Auditory. Participants need to hear and understand what is being taught. For example, paraphrase second time. Check with participants to determine if the instruction is getting through and is understood as intended. Kinesthetic. Kinesthetic mode is comprised of 2 activities, feeling and doing. Feeling. Participants need to touch and feel. As appropriate, allow them to feel surfaces and shapes. Allow them to feel the effect of hot and cold, wind and water, etc. Allow for experiencing inner feelings like sadness, joy, disappointment, and other emotions. Doing. Provide a hands-on opportunity for participants to replicate what is instructed to them. Training delivery methods and techniques. All training methods can be broadly divided into 2 categories. On-job training, off-job training. The words method and technique are used interchangeably sometimes and have more or less the same meaning. In this chapter, we will consider technique as a subset of methods. Some techniques can be used in both the training methods, on-job and off-job, while others can only be used in one. These techniques are self-directed learning, SDL, lectures and presentations, discussion, experiential training, coaching, case studies, workbooks, instructional games and simulation, role-playing, distance learning, computer-based instruction technique, job aids, self-directed learning, SDL, learner-controlled instruction, LCI. Self-directed learning, also known as learner-controlled instruction, LCI, is the process of learning in which the learner assumes primary responsibility for planning, implementing, and evaluating a learning project. The learner chooses what to learn and how to learn and also decides when to continue and when to end the learning project. Working without an instructor at their own pace, adult learners build toward achieving the desired competency level in the needed knowledge. SDL works well when there is only one person to train at a time. SDL reinforces the trend towards the use of technology-based training. Lectures and presentations. It is a one-dimensional formal verbal presentation of information to the trainees by expert company executives or instructors. The lecture is given to enhance the knowledge of the listener or to give him, her, the theoretical aspect of a topic. It is difficult to imagine training without a lecture format. Lectures are one type of presentation, others being of the oral, visual, and multimedia formats. Less expensive. Can reach large numbers of people at once. Knowledge-building exercise. Less effective. Discussion. Discussion formats allow the participant freedom to present their views, opinions, and ideas in an open environment. Round tables and panel discussions are generally used to keep interaction high and training successful, often moderated by a designated discussion leader. Repeated questioning, the Socratic method, is used to share accumulated knowledge and experiences of participants. Success may depend on the skills of the moderator. However, discussion format requires a skilled facilitator to execute it successfully. To ensure that everyone has the opportunity to speak, you may want to divide participants into smaller units. When any discussion concludes, summarize the main points orally and in writing. Rules for discussion. Listen to the person who is speaking. Have only one person speak at a time. Raise your hand to be recognized if you want to say something. Don't interrupt when someone is speaking. When you disagree with someone, make sure that you make a difference between criticizing someone's idea and criticizing the person. Don't laugh when someone is speaking, unless she or he makes a joke. Encourage everyone to participate. Experiential training. Focus in this is on experiencing the facts encountered in real-life situation. It employs several types of structured experiences. For example, games, simulation, role play to facilitate learnings. Here, the participants play out the scenarios under a skilled facilitator. It helps to get a predictable range of responses. This format is used for training in softer, interpersonal skills. For example, managing people. It requires a great deal of planning and can be costly to provide. Well-designed and implemented experiential training will make a significant impact on your organization and employees. Experiential training can help improve your organization in the following ways. Increase employee motivation to learn and improve. Accelerate completion of business goals. Create synergy and shared ownership of your organization's goals. Reduce resistance to change. Sustain and increase retention of training and learning. Coaching. Used for a small group or team and conducted at a workplace. Coaching is teaching, learning, and consoling relationships designed to develop knowledge and skill required to improve performance. It's helpful for teaching complex skills and operations when participants are few in number and training is not required frequently. It closely resembles a sports team coach model, and its success depends upon the competency of the coach. Finnerty outlines the following steps for effective coaching. Define performance goals. Identify necessary resources for success. Observe and analyze the current performance. Set expectations for performance improvement. Plan a coaching schedule. Meet with the team to get their commitment to the goal. Give feedback on practice and performance. Follow up to maintain goals. Case studies. A case study is an in-depth study of a particular situation. A realistic situation presented in verbal, written, or film form to a group of learners. Work done is usually individually, in small groups, or in a total group. It is designed to illustrate the principles. It gives a shared experience with built-in problems for learners to address. Different kinds of learning exercises fall under the category of case study. It can serve to stimulate intense discussion and idea sharing. Workbooks. Workbooks contain a collection of discussion topics, instructions, exercises, and other reference materials relating to a particular subject. Workbooks may be used to supplement other materials during classroom presentation. Workbooks can serve several purposes. As a learning tool, actively used during the presentation for note-taking, as a self-test, as a supplement to materials presented in a class, and as a reference to be used during class testing. To demonstrate knowledge acquired or skill obtained at each stage of training, specific notes, research data, etc. As a guide to be used by the trained person back on the job. Instructional games and simulation. Instructional games are games that have been specifically designed to teach people about a certain subject, expand concepts, reinforce development, understand a historical event of culture, or assist them in learning a skill as they play. This includes board, card, and video games. As we know, adult learners prefer to practice rather than just listen to lectures and prefer to interact with each other in a group. Simulations resemble the instructional game, but also include correspondence between some aspect of game and reality. Simulation is the imitation of a real thing, state of affairs, or process. The act of simulating something generally entails representing certain key characteristics or behaviors of a selected physical or abstract system. The prime advantage of simulations is that they allow practice of real-world skills under conditions similar to those in real life. Role-playing. Role-playing consists of spontaneously performing in an assigned scenario. Role-playing allows a group of employees to act out work scenarios. It opens communications, and for the amount of time that it puts a player on the spot, it also gives a great deal of confidence and develops camaraderie among those participating in doing the role-play situations. Role-playing can be used in every department by management and employees to practice business situations. Role-playing is an excellent exercise for the following: analyzing problems, job interviews to see how comfortably they communicate, improving selling by applying various selling solutions, developing teamwork, cooperation, and creative problem solving, improving listening skills. Distance learning. Distance learning, also referred to as distance education, is training delivered to students or participants who do not gather together regularly in the same place to receive it in person from the trainer. Essentially, detailed materials and instructions are sent or made available to students who carry out tasks which are in turn evaluated by the trainer. In fact, the teacher and learners may be separated not only geographically, but also in time. They are linked together electronically, for example, by cable or satellite TV. There is no need of a classroom for training in this method. Distance learning allows students to take classes whenever and wherever they are. It can be more affordable, probable because students can fit study around work. Computer-based instructional techniques. When a computer delivers any instructional material, Taylor, 1980, the situation is termed as computer-based instruction. Computer-based instruction has traditionally been composed of four main components: drill and practice, tutorials, games, and simulation and modeling. Learner control. Computer-based instruction allows students in learning high speed and yield high rate of reinforcement. Special needs. Computer-based instruction is effective with diverse ethnic backgrounds, and disabled students can proceed at an appropriate pace. Examples of existing computer-related technology used include instructional module embedded within computer software like Help, Wizards, Pop-ups, etc. Learning from mistake-proofing software like spelling and grammar. Websites. Internet access, online instructional manual. Internet. In an organization. Job aids. Job aids are virtually any type of media that can either substitute for formal training and/or provide reinforcement after training. Job aids can be used for guided practice during training. It is the simplest and most cost-effective way to assist workers in doing their jobs. A few types of job aids are procedure manual, checklist, decision table, flowchart, calculator. When job aids should be used: when you perform a task infrequently, when mistakes have serious consequences, when it's appropriate to self-correct, when there's a larger or dynamic knowledge base, when training resources are limited. Soft skills. Soft skills is the behavioral ability required and expected from persons and is associated with a person's EQ, emotional intelligence quotient. The cluster of personality traits, social graces, communication, language, personal habits, friendliness, and optimism that characterize relationships with other people. Soft skills complement the technical or hard skills that you've developed in your line of work. A set of soft skills is related to a person's EQ, emotional intelligence quotient. Some examples are personal qualities, personal traits, common sense, responsibility, a sense of humor, integrity, etc. Social graces, communication, language, personal habits, self-confidence, friendliness, ethic, positive, attitude, optimism, etc. Also, soft skills refer to behavioral competencies, ability that can be practiced such as empathy, conflict resolution and negotiation, personal effectiveness, creative problem solving, leadership, strategic thinking, teamwork, time management abilities, etc. On the other hand, hard skills are persons' technical skills and abilities to perform a certain type of task or activity. Part of a person's IQ, intelligent quotient. In other words, they are the technical, occupational requirements to perform a job. Clear view. Soft skills are skills, abilities, and traits that pertain to personality, attitude, and behavior. Soft skills are not formal or technical knowledge. Importance of soft skill. soft skills are very important. To handle interpersonal relations, to take appropriate decisions, to communicate effectively, to make a good impression and impact to gain professional development. Following is the list of soft skills with brief descriptions. Communication skills. The ability to speak and communicate message as well as intention clearly and fluently using the right word in the right order is a good communication skill. For example, message using appropriate vocabulary and syntax form effective communication skills. Written communication skills. Person's writing proficiency indications, spelling and grammar, errors committed while writing circulars, reports, and agenda are known as written communication skills. Presentation skills. Presentation skills include planning, preparation, and delivery of the message. Making a formal speech is one form of presentation. Presentation skills can be broadly categorized into physical, oral, and electronic. Success in life depends on presenting ideas in an appropriate manner. Look into the eyes of the audience and speak in a natural conversational voice. Appropriate voice will make the presentation effective and interesting. Teamwork. Teamwork is defined as when people of either gender, different age groups, qualification, status, and skills work as a team with a common objective of accomplishing the task. The success of any organization largely depends on the coordinated efforts of its employees. It mainly refers to the agreeableness and cooperation amongst the team members. Professional ethics. These are the personal, organizational, and corporate standards of behavior expected of professionals. Codes of professional ethics are often established by professional organizations to help guide members in performing their job functions according to sound and consistent ethical principles. Interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills are the skills to communicate and interact with other people both individually and in groups. People with good interpersonal skills are usually perceived as optimistic, calm, confident, and charismatic. Employers often seek to hire staff with strong interpersonal skills. They want people who will work well in a team and be able to communicate effectively with colleagues, customers, and clients. Time management. Time management is prioritizing and scheduling the time for work, personal life, or any other specific activities with conscious control. It's helpful especially to increase effectiveness, efficiency, or productivity. Stress management. Stress management is all about taking charge of your thoughts, emotions, schedule, and the way you deal with problems. It also refers to the wide spectrum of techniques and psychotherapies aimed at controlling a person's levels of stress, especially chronic stress, usually for the purpose of improving everyday functioning. Leadership skills. Leadership skills are some of the key skills that are needed to lead effectively to achieve a common organizational goal. Some of these skills are to motivate, enthuse, and build respect. Trust yourself, keep smiling, share, and stay together. Always learn new things, accept responsibility for yourself and your actions, and look at problems and challenges. Self-confidence. Self-confidence is the belief in oneself and one's abilities. It describes an internal state made up of what we think and feel about ourselves. It refers to how we feel about ourselves and our abilities, whether we appreciate and value ourselves. Body language. The conscious and unconscious movements and postures, a kind of nonverbal communication where thoughts, intentions, or feelings are expressed or communicated by physical behaviors such as facial expressions, body posture, gestures, eye movement, etc. Training, if done correctly and for the right reasons, is not an expense. It's an investment. Russ Westcott.
In this video, let us learn about team performance evaluation and rewards. Team performance evaluation and rewards. Session overview and objectives. By the end of this session, you will be able to describe team performance evaluation and rewards. Team management, team evaluation and rewards. Team performance evaluation. Teams are established to accomplish something within a time frame. A clear understanding of the team's objectives is a very important element of creating a successful team. The objectives may or may not be clear. Management may indicate that they desire a significant improvement in overall organisational performance, new business, reduced costs, or improved services. In this instance, the team has some serious work to do defining and refining performance measures. A team can and should be expected to develop and refine its objectives and measures of performance. Even when management provides simple instructions such as a desire to reduce costs, many questions remain. Reduce costs at the expense of sales. Reduce our own costs, but push costs off on some other source, that is, supplier or customer. Larger objectives quickly come into play. The team may need to understand the company's overall strategy. Once the strategy is set or understood by the team members, work can proceed on refining performance measures. Teams are often chartered to improve performance in some way. Performance is associated with speed, quality, cost, and effectiveness. Finding good measures on these variables is not always easy. Most organisations count what can be easily counted, without regard to the organisation's performance. Getting a better handle on performance usually means starting with the customer's point of view. Finding out what is important to customers and building on a set of measures around these variables is usually effective. An example team performance checklist is shown below. A team who establishes agenda has clarity about goals and content, and who doesn't is uncertain about it. A team which sticks to the subject is always to the point, and who doesn't frequently gets off track. A team presentation where only one person talks leads to no interruptions, and where it doesn't happen has multiple conversations. A team that builds on positive has additive comments, and a team who doesn't focuses on what's wrong. A team that actively listens has no misunderstandings, and who doesn't has comments that show lack of clarity. A team where participation is encouraged shows active participation, and which doesn't has opinions only with no data. A team where consensus is taken has a buy-in on all issues, otherwise people are stampeded. Team performance factors. Listed below are some illustrative relationship, process, goal, environmental and role factors that can be used or expanded upon to evaluate team performance. For well-functioning teams, the relationship factors have many positives, such as there is a firm identity, conflict is openly discussed, team members support each other, and members enjoy each other. For a poorly functioning team, the negatives for relationship factors are: members do not identify with the teams, there are open or covert personality conflicts, relationships are competitive, and members are defensive. The progress factors for a well-functioning team are: decisions are made by a few members, decisions are made by consensus, meetings are efficient and task-oriented, there is growth and learning, all members participate in discussions, members are informed and minutes are kept, there is ongoing performance feedback and members listen well. The negative points are: meetings are unproductive, minor points are debated, members are late, passive or do not attend, no record of progress is kept, feedback awaits the end of the project, and there are frequent interruptions. The positive goal factors of well-functioning teams are: team members help set objectives. Objectives are understood by all members. Objectives are realistically set and met. Environmental factors are: team members are in close physical proximity, there are adequate skills and resources, and there is management and member support. The negative factors are: most goals are predetermined for teams. Goals are unclear and poorly communicated. Members are oblivious to team goals. Physical separation prevents attendance. Resources are inadequate, and there is a lack of organisational recognition. The passive role factors are: there is strong, effective leadership, clear responsibilities are defined, roles are understood and supported by all, and members work as a team. The negative role factors are: no clear leader is identified, members engage in power plays, there is buck passing of responsibility, and members act independently. Recognition and rewards for teams and team members can be grouped into the following types: material items of significant value or equivalent, cash greater than $1,000, patent award, vacation time, bonus or percent of savings profit, trip, major gift. Material items of incidental value or equivalent, cash less than $1,000, picture on bulletin board, trophy, plaque, certificate, a meal with the boss, special parking space, name on a list. Intangible items, satisfaction, thanks, pleasure, admiration, friendship, notoriety, learning experience. Prestige. Team rewards, which are material items and are given to the team, should be the same for all members of the team. Many intangible rewards are not formally given by someone, but people can still receive and appreciate them. The ultimate reason that rewards and recognition are given is to provide positive reinforcement for good performance, with the expectation that this performance will be repeated in the future. The effect of the reward will depend on the perception of the person receiving the award. Rewards and recognition are best received when they are personal to the individual receiving them. This is more difficult to achieve as the team size increases or as the number of awards increase. If the award is unique, it has greater value than the same recognition a second or third time. If the company gives out a certificate of achievement to 1/3 of the employees each month, the employees will very quickly think of the certificate as worthless and a waste of time. Management recognition of a team for successful completion of their objectives can be very positive and can encourage other teams to strive for excellence. If the team's efforts are viewed by other teams as being less significant than were made by teams not receiving recognition, then the outcome can be very counterproductive. Team and individual rewards and recognition are important to both the organisation and to the individuals. However, rewards are often difficult to implement. While a reward may motivate one group, failure to receive a similar reward may discourage another group. The same reward, given under different conditions or at different times, may have totally different results. Probably one of the best rewards is thank you, when it is sincerely meant. Yet thank you often seems to be taken for granted by the person receiving the benefits. Employees who are aware that their efforts are appreciated are often eager to do more than if they were to receive a large financial award, but don't turn down the cash if it is offered. One way to offer recognition and support for teams is to encourage them to present their accomplishments to upper management. Presentation objectives include displaying skills, showing accomplishments, summarising project results, gaining necessary approvals, opening lines of communication, knowing the customer's true needs. Presentation guidelines include many of the following: have a handout report and a leader. Introduce everyone and give them a chance to speak. Capture key problems and action steps. Indicate costs and benefits of recommendations. Present an implementation plan. Use visual aids. Be professional. Emphasize achievements and accomplishments. Start and end on time, about 1/2 hour duration. Present no sudden surprises. Summary: Team Performance Evaluation and Rewards. In this session, you have learnt about Team Performance Evaluation and Rewards. Summary: Team Management. In this module, you have learnt about Team Management, Team Formation, Team Facilitation, Team Dynamics, Time Management for Teams, Team Decision-Making Tools, Management and Planning Tools, Team Performance Evaluation and Reward. Now you should be able to understand what is team management, facilitation, dynamics, time, management for teams, decision-making tools, management and planning tools, and team performance evaluation and reward.